When was the last time you did something that truly scared you, pushed you to your limits?
What are you doing? Oh, look at the boat. It's stupid, eh?
Alright, let's go back.
When a place this beautiful, this remote, truly exists in our world, and your floating home is the only boat bobbing around in the bay, would you dare venture out into this wilderness?
Lots of emotions at the moment because we really want to get out to Zoe Falls.
But how far would you go? How far would you push your limits for adventure? Come join us. On this episode, we'll show you what an average day looks like on board our floating home, Takana, as we sail to and attempt to explore this enormous uninhabited island, likened to Jurassic Park.
Holy smokes.
If you've been following our sailing journey up the east coast of Australia, we're approaching Hinchinbrook, which is a tropical island in the Great Barrier Reef.
Right in front of us, Hinchinbrook Island, and we're on our way to Zoe Falls. Not much wind about, we have the engine on.
It's Australia's largest island national park.
This is out of control beautiful. We are here by ourselves, there's no one else around. We are the only ones. We don't know if we're crazy or smart. We found a little piece of heaven, but it is a bit rolly, and we also are on a lee shore, so if we were to drag anchor, over there would be the result. Takana would be beached. And the problem is that we both want to go up to Zoe Falls, which is an incredible waterfall. But that means we'd have to leave Takana here by herself. So we've just showed up, so we're going to observe, see how it goes.
So we're going to wait a couple of hours for those waves and unfavourable conditions to subside. We are always a little apprehensive about leaving Takana on anchor without anyone on board. So while we wait, we're going to get on with life on board, the bed, a bit of a clean-up and a healthy breakfast, as we'll need plenty of energy for that hike up to Zoe Falls.
Keep it up one more minute.
By the afternoon, John and I built up the courage to take the chance.
2
What are you
minutes.
doing? It's stupid, eh?
We're just going to approach the beach now. There also looks like there's a bit of swell around as well.
We might get out, but also we're going to come back through here. Look at these waves.
The waves at the beach wall are just way too gnarly.
There's no one here, there's
Yeah.
no phone reception, there's no help if anything bad happens. If the engine dies, we're not going to get back to the boat, and then there's really strong wind coming over the next couple of days. It's just not worth it.
So we aborted the mission for now.
So I was a little concerned about the giant mosquitoes that live here. I asked John, do mosquitoes live here on Hinchinbrook? And what did you say?
Of course they do.
You said everything that can hurt you lives on Hinchinbrook. Take 2. We are giving it another crack. We just took some drone footage, and in the space of like an hour, the tide has changed. So we figured we'll give it another crack because the waves on the beach aren't as intense and threatening. Get in.
I spend my days in
Alright, this is so good. We just landed on Jurassic Park.
If this all comes off, done extremely well considering the weather's supposed to turn.
Now that it's late in the afternoon, the sun will be setting really soon, so John had to set an alarm on his phone for 4:40 p.m, meaning we have just 1 hour to get up to the waterfall and back to the beach.
Alright, we better hurry up. I don't want to get eaten by mosquitoes, and I don't want to lose the tender. Sugar. Forgot to bring the insect repellent because we're in such a rush. Is this the way?
Keep going. Oh, it's actually this way.
And there are crocs in here, so I'm quietly like pants, but I don't want to act like that in front of John because I think secretly he might be nervous as well. Crocodile inhabits this area. Attack may cause injury or death.
Keep away from the water then.
Okay, well, our tender is kind of in the water. Where?
This island is like nothing else we've seen during our travels around Australia. It feels almost prehistoric. Maybe it's because only 40 people are allowed to camp on Hinchinbrook at any one time. and visitors have to apply to the government for a permit before arriving. So if you do happen to bump into another bushwalker, chances are they've had to bring their own food and water, unless they're game enough to drink from these streams.
Look how clear the water is.
Here on Hinchinbrook, there are no supermarkets, no roads or homes. It's completely uninhabited, except for us visitors, of course. I guess it's the government's way of protecting the biodiversity and natural environment.
All right, here we go. This is the rope part. Oh man. Probably should put the GoPro away now. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing when things just work out, hey.
Took us 20 minutes to get here.
On our second attempt, we made it to Crocodile. And we can see Takata and she's like,
Living life literally on the edge sometimes gives us this precious gift in return, reminding us to just go for it and put our fears to the side. I often wonder, will our lives ever be the same after living on a boat?
Oh, how nice and cool was it?
so cool.
I'm gonna go sit under the waterfall. Whoa, watch out.
These moments on land feel so precious now.
Gotta make sure you don't go near the edge there. You get stuck out.
Well, I'm so glad that we made it up here together. This is absolutely incredible.
Nicest spot I've been in a long time, don't you think?
Yeah, this is definitely one to remember. Look at that boat out there.
And just like that, it was time to go.
Oh, there's your alarm! I can't believe you even set an alarm.
We'll be fighting off crocs on the beach to get back to the dinghy.
We gotta go.
To put our journey into perspective, at this point, we purchased Takana 6 months ago, and with pretty much no sailing experience, we took her out for the first time 3 months ago. There is no doubt whatsoever John's prior navigation experience has been a massive help on our quest.
How good is that? Look at that.
Even though he's so modest and would never admit it.
What a day.
Pretty good.
Back on board, it seems we're in for a rough night on anchor.
Just making some dinner. But yeah, it is pretty wild. The gimbal's moving around a bit. It makes cooking dinner interesting.
On nights like this, I prepare simple meals, so I've decided to make a quick cheese platter with some boiled eggs I had in the fridge. While eating dinner, John and I reminisced about the stern anchor drama in our last episode.
Oh nah, John, that does not sound good at all.
We were a little scarred by that experience, so for a laugh we thought we'd try our dinghy anchor instead, thinking it might be a little easier to retrieve.
You're using that as a stern anchor.
As a stern anchor.
And you're
I reckon it'll easily hold a 14-ton boat.
John just had a beer. That is why he's come up with this ridiculous idea. He's now trying to pull the stern of the boat around. Oh my god, it's actually kind of working.
Thank goodness, this time we didn't get stuck.
Good morning. Just about to head off. Very rolly sleep last night as expected, but well worth it for the chance to see the falls, and it's pretty nice anchorage. Kristina's wearing a mosquito suit. Poor thing's getting eaten. Just pulling up the anchor now, heading around to the inside of the channel for high tide. That's why we're getting up so early. The sun's not far away.
Holy mackerel, this is really pretty. There ain't any mosquitoes in this beautiful breeze, but mosquito suit works a treat, and I feel like I'm going to be wearing it for the next 3 days. Because obviously this area is completely surrounded by mangroves.
So as John mentioned, we're heading towards the Hinchinbrook channel. let's bring up a map so we can share with you where we're off to next. We're on the outside of the island near Zoe Falls, but we're heading back south to enter the channel, making our way to Haycock Island to seek some protection from that nasty weather that's forecast to hit us. The autopilot is on and I'm in charge of breakfast. This morning, we couldn't choose between Vegemite or jam on toast. So why not both? It went down a treat with coffee and tea while we were eyeballing the world's longest offshore sugar loading facility in front of us.
Passing this rather long jetty, I think it's 5 kilometres long. It's where they take all the crushed sugar cane and ship it out.
At 5.76 kilometres or 3.6 miles long, it's also the longest service jetty in the southern hemisphere.
There is a heap of traffic through here, lots of fishermen. None of them have AIS, so we just need to keep a really good lookout to make sure we don't have any close calls this morning. Oh my gosh! What did you do?
We caught a high-fill tenderfish. I was doing a 10 fast and it popped up out of the water.
What a disaster. Just going to weave our way behind this hill to the right because we have some strong southeast trade winds arriving tomorrow and the next day up to 25 knots. So this will give us a lot of protection and shelter over the next 3 days.
So we decided to put our anchor out right here. This spot gave us almost 360 degrees protection, and it seems a few others had the same idea, including the other John, who we met back on Magnetic Island in our last episode.
Oh, hey John!
Where did you stay last night?
John just told us that last time he was here, he saw a 14-foot croc. So John and I are just going to get our dinghy off and out of the water.
It was a bit rough at the last stop.
Inflatable boats and crocodile teeth probably don't really mix very well.
Come on, Kristina, put that down. Come on, put that down.
Okay. Are there actually crocs in here?
Turns out the last attacks were pretty recent.
If something happens, I'm filming.
Oh, good.
The gaff would be a good weapon. Looking around, there are no crocodiles.
You may be thinking, are we overreacting? Well, the last bloke who was taken by a croc was in a 2.5 metre tender at the time. His wife raised the alarm when he failed to return to their yacht, and she couldn't raise him by two-way radio. Supposedly, the crocs can even smell human scent on dinghies, so we're taking care of that problem. But with limited space on board and the bow now taken up by the tender, yoga classes have moved indoors. Outside, the weather deteriorated pretty quickly.
It is quite windy. Not as windy as we were expecting, but again, we are pretty protected in here. Hard to believe that in Cairns, to the north of us, they have had winds up to 40 knots. So strong, in fact, that a pole mooring was ripped out of the river. But yeah, we're very happy that we are protected here. We definitely thought the winds would be stronger, but clearly, yeah, we're just so protected here, which is the perfect spot to be.
Almost perfect. There was one noise grinding our gears.
John just wants a little bit of peace and serenity, don't you, John? Oh. John loves a good slap on the bum, don't you?
Patience and the inability to get off the boat wears thin, but it does give you plenty of time to get on top of those boat jobs.
So the has itself. Can I say that?
That shit there.
The toilet has pooped itself. That's probably a bit more PG.
What you will probably struggle to do is find someone who wants to pull apart the toilet.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Work on it, give it a good flusher, of course.
Yep.
You can put a very small cap full of chlorine or disinfectant or something down there to start with.
Yep.
I say very small because you don't want to make anything too strong because it will sometimes react with the rubbers and O-rings and pipe.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind sending me the exploded diagram, that would be great.
You're not gonna want to fix that toilet up.
No, I don't mind doing it.
Really? Can you put your glove on
Where's
properly,
my
like do one
hat?
of these ones?
Where's my hat? I need to wear my hat
Why do you wear your hat?
so I don't get poo in my face. You're supposed to wear a face shield and goggles.
Do you need a mask? It was going to cost us about $1,000 to fix that toilet up, which is just a punch in the hip pocket. Just another thing that we just weren't really wanting to have to fork out for, but it's a necessity. In saying that, John had to pull it all apart to see what the problem was in the first place. So it was either going to be $70 for a service kit or $1,000 for the entire macerator. Pretty much everything that's underneath the toilet bowl.
Can you just put the circuit breaker in?
Just putting the circuit breaker back. Hang on.
Come on.
Just putting the circuit breaker back in because we just...
Christina, it's not that complicated.
It is. I'm actually just trying to find it. All right, got it in. Just put the circuit breaker in. We took it out initially so John wouldn't lose any of his fingers. John is doing an amazing job in there. I'm not going to show you, but essentially there's just gunk all wrapped around. What is it, John? The macerator?
Yeah.
Did you just want to explain it from there?
Well, this is the blade that chops up your shakes.
Turns out someone cleaning their hairbrush and flushing it down the toilet caused the macerator to seize and electric motor to potentially burn out.
Fingers crossed that it works, because my mum is going to be joining us next week in Cairns, which is going to be so awesome. Can't wait for you to meet her. And we were kind of worried that we might only have one toilet to use between the three of us. So if John can get this fixed, that is going to be amazing. I could not have chosen a worse time to cook.
I can't believe you just talked about food and forks at the same time.
No, I just